Hello all. Alright, let's go get us an oil update. Things have been happening so fast I couldn't even tell you everything even if I had an hour or 2 hours. So I'll just go over some of the basics. Let's just go see what's happening in the US. Okay, here in the US they sort of count rigs, drilling rigs, to see how the fracking fields are doing. And the count is down by 209. This is the biggest decrease in rig count since 1987. The rig count is now down to 1,366. Most of the rigs are in Texas and New Mexico. Oil prices in the U.S. have been down 58% since June 2014. OPEC is predicting that the U.S. shale play drilling will completely stop about mid-year. You see how powerful money is, how money will get rid of anything you don't want. If there isn't any money involved, it goes away. We've been trying to stop the fracking boom here in the U.S. for over 2 or 3 years now, trying to stop the No KXL Pipeline, trying to stop the Canadian tar sands. But let's go and see what's happening in other parts of the world. So Shell Oil Company has stopped $6.5 billion in oil projects, such as exploration and drilling. In the U.S., Pioneer Energy Services lost all the U.S. rig contracts they had. And the natural gas drilling rigs in the U.S. are down by 19 to 310 rigs. Hello all. So we're on a ride today, and it's been extremely foggy. Pea soup kind of stuff. Let me show you. You can see it through the forest. It's very dark and foggy. But I thought this was kind of neat. I want to show you what I found when I came around the bend. Blue sky. And some really cool looking fog coming over the hill there. It's like a tidal wave. So let's go talk about what's happening around the world for layoffs. I've just taken a few here and there just to give you an example of what's coming. And this is just beginning. This is happening all over the world, and it's just at the beginning. The big oil companies are starting to lay off some of their contractors who are running some of the most unprofitable oil fields or oil wells around the world. They're the first ones to go. That's where we are right now. After that, it will become more and more contractors, and then more of the big oil companies, workers themselves, will start laying off a lot of people. Let's go take a look at this little list and see what's happening around the world. So here's a little example of who's laying off at this point. Hundreds of thousands of layoffs are expected in the U.S. in the oil sector. For example, 150,000 jobs both in Texas and New Mexico are expected in unconventional oil recovery. For the U.S. break-even for unconventional oil is $69 a barrel, according to the oil industry. I've heard that number is truly about 110 a barrel. Between 110 and 100. In Mexico, 10,000 layoffs have happened already. In Bakersfield, California, here in the U.S., 700 layoffs have already happened. And that's just a very small example of what's going on. Bicycling is a great way to get around because you get to see things that nobody else gets to see. And according to some analysts, we're all going to be riding bicycles sooner than you think. And it's not going to do anybody any harm. It's going to make the nation a lot healthier, the world a lot healthier. We're not going to have as much smoke and smog. You're going to learn to live around where you are. In other words, you'll go shopping by foot or by bicycle instead of by vehicle. Maybe take mass transit, but I think people will start to get very condensed, and it'll be an improvement once the wars are over and we've thinned our population down to about 1/4 of what it is now, or even lower. Hopefully that'll be after my time. So many people are blaming either Saudi Arabia or the U.S. or Russia for the oil glut on the planet. The U.S. says that they have the right to hold prices up and pump, where Saudi Arabia doesn't. Saudi Arabia is saying that they can pump oil all the way down to $1 a barrel. Russia has cut all gas supplies off to Europe as I speak. That's an ongoing issue. So let me go over some of the problems that's happening around the world, whereas our leaders are saying that the world, especially Obama here in the U.S., is saying that the economy is really robust and strong. I disagree with that, and I think that is really where the blame comes. People just can't afford to drive, regardless of what the gas prices cost. Steel, copper, tin, and aluminum have all gone down in prices a lot in the last few months. Let's go over the board and look at some more examples of some issues going on. December's sales slump around the world and the U.S. was down by 0.9% from 2013. Here in the U.S., JCPenney and Macy's, two of the largest retailers in the U.S., plan to close dozens of stores and lay off thousands of workers. Wet Seal is closing 338 stores and laying off 3,700 employees already. That's a fashion retailer here in the U.S. So let's go over and see what Brent crude is going for in the futures market. We use Brent crude because it's the most oil sold and is the oil that's used for most fuels now. We are having a holiday here in the U.S. It's Martin Luther King Day, one of the better holidays. It actually means something. But it started out at 50.1 and sort of just trickled and then went down fast to 49.4. Sort of went up, then down, then down, then down, all the way down to 48.7 at this time. The change hasn't gotten to where it wants to get past the 40s. It seems to like 48, 49, 50. So let's go up and see how many oil barges there are in San Francisco Bay. We watch this to determine what the supply is going to be here in California, Oregon, and Washington, and other parts of the U.S. It's just a quick barometer just to see what's sort of happening with the supply locally for people in the U.S. Well, a little bit cleaner skies today. It looks like we have about 3 oil barges in San Francisco Bay. So things are getting a little interesting, and we'll keep up on this as much as I can. We got all the messages from our last video, but for some reason they're all gone now. I don't know if people are taking off their messages or if YouTube is taking them off because they don't agree with them, but I did get all the messages. At least I got 4 of them. I'm not sure whether they'll come back or not. So I appreciate all the new subscribers, the ups and the downs and the comments. That's what sort of makes the video, is reading people's comments and thoughts. So until next time. Coming real soon, the Maple Gas Report.